3 men went to an island. They kept the light burning. They logged the weather. They did their jobs. And then, on an ordinary December morning in the year 1900, they were gone. No bodies, no distress signal, no explanation that anyone has ever been able to prove. Just a half-prepared meal, a knocked-over chair, and a logbook that simply stops. This is the story of the Flannan Isles, and the 3 men the sea never gave back. December 26th, 1900. The steamship Arctur was crossing the North Atlantic toward Scotland when the first mate pointed northeast. The Flannan Isles Lighthouse, one of the most remote in the world, was dark, not flickering, not dim, dark, completely. As if it had never existed. A lighthouse going dark in the North Atlantic in winter is not an inconvenience. It is a death sentence for any ship unlucky enough to be navigating nearby. Captain Holman logged the observation, reported it when he reached port, and that report began one of the most disturbing investigations in British maritime history. The relief vessel Hesperus arrived at the Flannan Isles on December 26th, delayed 2 weeks by brutal weather. Relief keeper Joseph Moore noticed immediately that something was wrong. No flag on the flagpole, no one on the landing platform, no movement anywhere on the rock. He went ashore alone. Moore had made this crossing before. He knew the Flannan Isles. He knew the lighthouse. He climbed the steep path from the landing, a path he had walked a dozen times, and called out when he reached the top. No answer. The main door was closed, but not locked. Before we go inside, you need to know who was on that island. 3 men, 3 lighthouse keepers. James Ducat, 43 years old, 21 years of service, described by everyone who knew him as completely unshakable. Thomas Marshall, 28, capable, reliable. Donald McArthur, 40, the superstitious one, afraid of the sea in a way lighthouse men aren't supposed to admit. Inside the lighthouse, Moore found a clock, stopped, oil lamps cold, dark for days, 2 oilskin coats on their hooks, 1 missing. In the kitchen, a meal half prepared, a chair knocked over on the stone floor, a single upturned cup, and on the table, the logbook open. The rest of the kitchen was orderly. Only 2 things were wrong: the chair on its side, and the upturned cup beside it, as if someone had stood up very suddenly, in great alarm, and did not come back to right them. Moore read the last 3 log entries. December 12th, Thomas Marshall writing, "Severe winds, the likes of which I have never seen in 20 years of service. Ducat quiet and praying. McArthur weeping. James Ducat, 21 years of experience, praying. Donald McArthur, weeping, whatever they saw that night." Marshall didn't write what it was. December 13th. Storm still raging. Cannot write more. December 15th. The final entry. Storm ended. Sea calm. God is over all. Then nothing. Here is what makes these entries deeply strange. The meteorological records for the Flannan Isles that December show no significant storm between the 12th and 15th. Ships in the area recorded moderate weather. Whatever storm broke James Ducat, no one else recorded it. On the west side of the island, investigators found damage. A concrete block weighing over a ton, moved from its position. Iron railings bent and broken. Equipment swept from a locked box 40 feet above the high water mark. But the damage was old, the metal already rusting at the breaks, the block already settled. This had happened weeks before the men disappeared. They would have seen it. There was nothing in the logbook. The official conclusion. The three men went to inspect the west landing after the storm cleared, and were swept into the sea by an unexpected wave. But investigating Officer Robert Muirhead noted several problems with his own conclusion. Why did all three go at once? Protocol required one man to stay at the lighthouse, always. Why was one coat missing and two left behind in December in the North Atlantic? And why was there nothing in the log about any intention to go to the landing? Muirhead wrote his conclusion. He did not believe it. Many explanations have been proposed. A rogue wave, contradicted by the meteorological record. A violent argument, contradicted by the complete absence of any evidence. A boat sighting, no vessel was reported missing in the area. And then there are the older explanations, the ones the islanders offered when the news reached them. The Flannan Isles had a reputation long before the lighthouse was built. Ancient Celtic tradition called them the Seven Hunters, a place where the boundary between the living world and something else was thin. Fishermen had reported lights on the uninhabited islands for centuries. Strange lights, moving lights, lights that corresponded to nothing. When the lighthouse was built in 1899, local men refused to work during certain weeks of the year. They would not say why. Donald McArthur had told his wife before leaving for the posting, "I don't want to go there. There's something wrong with that place." His wife confirmed this to investigators. It was noted in the file, not followed up. The Flannan Isles lighthouse was automated in 1971. The official file on the disappearance of James Ducat, Thomas Marshall, and Donald McArthur remains open. No bodies were ever recovered. No explanation was ever agreed upon. The light still burns tonight. No one is there to see what it catches in the dark. Subscribe to the Shadow Archive. There are more lights going out. The Flannan light still burns tonight. Automated. Unwatched. No one there to see what the beam catches in the dark. And perhaps that is just as well. If you want more stories that don't let you sleep, subscribe to the Shadow Archive. There are more lights going out. If you made it to the end, you already know this is the kind of story that doesn't leave you. Hit subscribe. New story every week. And if you want to know what really happened on the Flannan Isles, the honest answer is nobody does. Some doors stay closed.